Hello, mini 4-Hers. This is Katie Sweet, your 4-H Extension educator here in Hendricks County. I'm excited that you're able to watch our video for our December Mini 4-H Connection Night. Unfortunately, our original Mini 4-H Connection Night in December had a couple technical hiccups, and we were unable to get the video to process properly, so we have to do a little re-recording, but that's okay. You can still follow along, and we're just going to go through what we went through that evening, and for those of you that were unable to join us live. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we will get started here. So first off, welcome. So excited to see so many of you joining us via our YouTube channel. Welcome if you are a new or returning Mini 4-H member. We're excited to have you. As a reminder, these Mini 4-H Connection Nights are something new that we haven't been able to do in the past, or we haven't done in the past. Due to the circumstances that are going on right now, this has been a great opportunity to connect with our Mini 4-Hers, do some fun activities together, and get excited about 2021, where hopefully we can do some in-person and virtual hybrid meetings as we look ahead to the future. So just a couple of reminders. This is the Google Drive. You should have been sent this information. It has all of the activities that we're going to do in the next couple minutes. You will need some leaves handout, some Indiana leaves. All of the activities that we do tonight are from the Nature, Plants, and Trees book in the Mini 4-H project. So there's our Nature, Plants, and Trees manual. So you will need this page that is some Indiana leaves. We'll go over that. You'll need this nice little handout that has 4 trees on it, because the activity we're going to do is going to reflect the 4 trees for 4 different seasons in Indiana. And then you will also need our seeds, fruits, and plants page as well. So those are going to be great activities for you to do as we work through this together. In addition to those, you will either need construction paper or markers, crayons, whatever you can find around the house. I have some construction paper here. I've got some green, orange, and red, but again, it's up to you what you would like your preference to be. Markers and crayons work just great. We've got pen and pencil if you have one of those laying around, and glue or tape if you're going to use construction paper, and then of course our activity sheets. So while you're watching a recorded version, I do want to just remind you that in a typical Zoom meeting, we ask that you are respectful of the people that are presenting, those that are talking, and each other during our meetings, just like we would in a real in-person meeting. We are going to do our pledges still, so I hope that you stand up and join us in those. And then today we're going to go over careers in nature, plants, and trees as it relates to our project. We're going to do a couple of those activities, and then I do have a game that we'll play as well. So we went over those Zoom rules. So first we're going to do our pledges. So I do have my flags here. And remember, every 4-H meeting is going to start off with pledges. So you have those on the screen. You can follow along. I will do them as well. So go ahead and stand up and follow along with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great job. Now we're going to do our 4-H pledge, and you can follow along there as well. I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living. For my club, my community, my country, and my world. Great job. Thank you so much for joining in. All right. Up first, we're going to talk about careers in nature, plants, and trees. And there are so many different jobs out there that relate to nature, plants, and trees. Unfortunately, the speaker that we had scheduled for our December meeting was unable to be there. So we did find some great YouTube videos that we're going to share with you right now. So let me pull those up as well. I have 2 different videos that are real short that are just going to talk about 2 different jobs that relate to nature, trees, and plants in general. And these are just 2 of many, many job opportunities that you would see out there in the world. So here's one of them. We're going to talk about a forester first.
Hi, I'm Sean O'Connor, forester on the Mount Baker Snoqualmie National Forest. The Mount Baker Snoqualmie is managed for multiple uses and benefits, including the sustained yield of renewable resources. One of those resources is timber. The practice of sustainable forest management provides for resource protection while meeting our forest products needs. We also support local economies by providing natural resource jobs. The objective of most of the acres harvested is primarily ecological restoration. This is often driven by the habitat of threatened and endangered species, such as the spotted owl. As a forester, my primary responsibility is planning and implementing timber sales on the forest. First step is identifying the unit boundaries. In harvest areas, I identify and mark leave and removal trees and sample and measure a portion of those trees to determine timber sale volume. I utilize GIS technology to create maps and collect data. And finally, I appraise timber sale value and removal costs and prepare the timber sale contract. Growing up in Idaho, I spent a lot of time exploring our national forests. Forestry seemed like a natural fit for me. I get to continue to explore off the beaten path while working for an agency with a history of providing natural resources for the public. Timber management is an important tool in ensuring the biodiversity and resilience of our national forests. As a forester, I get to contribute to these efforts.
All right, so you can see there the forester has a lot of different responsibilities. One of those, he talked about testing timber. And so timber is another word for wood, right? So I know this is just a re-recording, but I want you, if you can, shout out what are some things that you think of in daily life that involve timber? A couple that came up at our mini 4-H connection night originally were maybe a desk, maybe if you have stairs in your house, maybe your floor is wood. So timber can be used for a lot of different things, right? In your house, maybe outside you have a tree house. I have a tree house in our backyard for my 3-year-old and he loves it. There's lots of different uses for wood, and there's got to be someone that makes sure we're getting quality wood from the tree, quality timber to turn into those logs or whatever that's going to end up being. So the next little video I have is about a wildlife biologist, and we're going to see what they do and how it relates to plants and trees and nature as well.
I'm the district wildlife biologist here. I work for the United States Forest Service on the Bankhead National Forest here in North Alabama. The Bankhead is one of the most diverse forests in Alabama. It's absolutely beautiful. You couldn't ask for a more beautiful place to enjoy and work in every day. But then the actual job itself is so diverse. Tonight I could be out mist netting, surveying bats and catching bats in hand. And tomorrow we might be putting a prescribed burn on the ground. And day after tomorrow we might be assisting a researcher trapping an endangered turtle in the Sipsey Fork of the Black Warrior. So every day is something different, just very diverse, and that keeps things interesting. You don't get bogged down with the same day-to-day duties. It's an endless opportunity of things to do every day. I guess I took maybe an atypical role to get into the field and into the Forest Service. I did not grow up on a farm, or really, as my family was not a forest landowners. I kind of grew up in town and didn't really discover my love and interest in wildlife and possibly working for the Forest Service until I enrolled in wildlife at Auburn University. We have a diverse group of folks working for the forest and several field-going ladies that work with us here. And if you think that you're interested in the outdoors, whether it's in forestry, wildlife, any natural resources field, then take every opportunity you can find to volunteer, to practice, to job shadow, and have the opportunity to just follow folks around and sit down and visit with them and say, hey, what's your job really like? Because I think it might be like this, but in fact, it's something totally different. So have an opportunity to volunteer, get out into the woods and see if it really is what you think it is and what you might like. And if it is, pursue it with all your might. I'm Allison Cochran, and I'm proud to be a public servant working for the United States Forest Service in Northwest Alabama.
Awesome. So part of her job, she mentioned she works for the Forest Service, but she focuses more on the animals and wildlife that are there. So just because we're talking about trees today doesn't mean careers necessarily have to all relate to just the trees. Wildlife are involved with the woodlands and the forests as well. So those are great things to consider as possible job opportunities too, if you like doing that. One thing she mentioned was making sure if you're interested in things like forestry, is you're getting experiences. And I know you're just first and second graders, but I would like to mention that if you're interested in the activities we do tonight and the nature, trees, plants project and mini 4-H, check out projects in regular 4-H that relate to that as well, such as forestry, entomology, wildlife, soil and water, any of those natural resource projects that are in regular 4-H, you can kind of try out in mini 4-H and just get a taste of before you enter our regular 4-H program. So now we're going to do a stretch break. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. So we are going to do a stretch break. Again, even though this is re-recorded from our original night, I still want you to participate. So we're going to play a game called Would You Rather? And I'm going to give you two options, and I want you to stand up if you agree with the first one, or you're going to remain seated if you agree with the second one. So for example, would you rather eat chocolate ice cream, stand up, or would you rather eat vanilla ice cream, sit down? So it's up to you. Chocolate ice cream, stand up. Vanilla ice cream, sit down. I'm a vanilla person, but chocolate or vanilla? Great job. Next, would you rather live in the city, stand up, or the country, stay seated? Would you rather live in the city, stand up, or the country, stay seated? Great job. Would you rather have a Coke or a Pepsi? Are you a Coke person? I'm a Coke person. Or a Pepsi? Coke, stand up. Pepsi, sit down. Great job. All right, we'll do one more before we get into our activity. Would you rather watch TV, stand up, or would you rather read a book, remain seated? Watch TV, stand up, remain seated if you would rather read a book. Awesome job. Great job. Thanks for that quick stretch break. So while we wrap up the stretch break, I'm going to ask you to get out your tree activity that looks like this. This is going to be what we're going to focus on next as we get that going. Because one of the things in our book, it talks about the different leaves, and especially Indiana trees. These are some examples of some leaves that you might see on trees around Indiana, especially during the fall. We've got some white oaks, we've got a sugar maple leaf, and this handout is just a quick reference guide of some things to look for in identifying trees based on their leaves. So you can, see that a red mulberry has 3 simple leaves that make that up, and it has jagged edges and 3 different shaped leaves. So you can see the example there. We've got our white oak. It's a rounded lobed leaf. Other oak leaves have bristle or that are pointy edges, tipped leaves, but this one's a little more rounded. So those are some examples that if you're interested, maybe you can look out in your yard and find what kind of tree you have. Speaking of, if you have a tree in your yard, I want you to go ahead and raise your hand. We had several that were on the call that night that had trees in their yard. I also have trees, several different trees in my yard too. If you come to the fairgrounds, we've also got lots of trees here on the fairgrounds too. If we were able to meet in person, that is one thing we would have been able to do, is go explore the different trees in our fairgrounds. But since we're not, we're going to make do with making our own trees. So I'm going to turn my camera around. By now, hopefully you've gotten your supplies. If not, because this is a re-recording, you can pause it if you need to go collect some things. I'm going to turn my video camera around so you can see my tree paper right there. And what I'm going to do, we have on this paper it is 4 different seasons. And so we're going to pretend that this is a tree in Indiana that is one that would change leaves and that the leaves would fall off. Instead of being like an evergreen, like a pine tree that would have leaves that stay on all year round, this is going to be our tree that we're going to say changes colors and has the leaves that fall off. So in the spring, a tree in Indiana, what color of leaves do you think it would have? If you said green, yep, you are right. So I'm going to take my green construction paper or a green marker. It's totally up to you. And I'm actually just going to rip mine and make little leaves to put on here. And I'm not going to put them on everywhere on the tree because right now in the spring, the trees are starting to bud. They're starting to blossom with some flowers. So maybe they're not all the way full yet. Again, if you have a green marker or a green crayon, feel free to color in that tree if you want. So maybe your tree's looking more like this. There's my buds and my leaves. Maybe that's a little more what my tree looks like. Or you were able to get some construction paper and we'll glue that down. Bloop, bloop. There we go. All right. And so in the spring, this is also in your book, trees absorb water through their roots and prepare for a hot summer. They start to bud and flower. So you might see flowers or different leaves popping out on the trees in the spring. Some trees even give off different odors when the buds start to bloom. So you might walk around even on our fairgrounds as the trees start to blossom. You might smell something a little different than you would in the summertime, which leads us to our next session or our next season, which is summer. And in the summer, some trees are fruit trees and the fruit is starting to develop, and others have buds or flowers that are gone and the leaves are getting bigger and greener. So what color should we put on our leaves for the summer? Yeah, we're gonna do green, and we're gonna do even more leaves than our spring one. Maybe they look a little different. Maybe it's a little fuller. So I'm gonna have my big green construction paper there. Maybe it's starting to have some fruit pop out. So I'm gonna put some fruit on here. Got some fruit, fruit buds there. And again, if you don't have construction paper, crayons and markers are great. So then we come to our fall. And what does fall look like in Indiana? Changing leaves. Yeah. The leaves eventually dry up and they start to fall off the branches. Some trees have seeds or nuts that will fall to the ground during this time. And leaves are starting to change colors, right? Oh, what are some of your favorite colors that the leaves change into? Yellows, reds, oranges. I've got some red and orange construction paper here. So I'm going to put some red and orange construction paper on my tree. I'm going to put some on the ground, pretend that that has already fallen down. Maybe some nuts or some seeds to go with it that have fallen down too. There we go. And again, you can glue this down, tape this down, or if you just have your markers, maybe you, and crayons, maybe that's the way you want to go. So there's my colorful leaves and they're falling on the ground. Yeah, yep. And then we have winter. So what color are our leaves for this tree in winter? Trick question. You're right. All trees except for evergreens, pines, should really lose their leaves. They lose their leaves in the wintertime in Indiana. Branches remain and the tree is alive, but the leaves and fruit are all gone, right? So sometimes this is where animals, nest up in the tree to get prepared for winter. So we're going to just leave that square blank like it is. You guys can add to your branches as you wish. I'm going to turn this back around. But great job on that. I would love to see pictures of your finished product. On the Indiana Seasonal Tree handout in your Nature Plant and Trees book, you'll find more information about what plants need and the different seasons broken down as well. So great job on that activity. And we are going to go into our next activity, which is going to be our matching activity. So we have our seeds, fruits, and plants activity. If you want to grab that, I will turn my camera back around and we will work through this together as well. So you can grab a marker or a pen or a pencil to follow along. So on this side, we've got our coconut, an apple, our sunflower seeds, an acorn, and a pine cone. And then on this side, we have a sunflower, a pine tree, a palm tree, an apple tree, and an oak tree. So we're going to draw lines to match each seed or fruit with the plant that it goes along with. So we'll start with the coconut. Which tree do you think the coconut goes with? The palm tree, you're right. Boop. Draw that line. We've got our apple next. Which one would the apple go with? If you said apple tree, you are correct. Let's draw that. Our sunflower seeds come next. And those, you're right, go to the sunflower. All right, two more. We've got our acorn and our pine cone. Our acorn will go with which one, the pine tree or the oak tree? Yep, that's going to go to the oak tree. And then we've got our pine cone, which means it goes to the pine tree. Great job. Great job. Again, would love to see those finished products. Feel free to share those with us. Great job on that activity too. So now I'm going to share my screen one more time, and I've just got some other activities I wanted to share with you that are in our Google Drive that you can explore more into the nature, plants, and trees topics. So let me do that. So in our Google Drive that was shared with you via email, you will see an Arbor Day activity, Carly's Kids Corner activity. And it's got a word search, a dot to dot. It's festive, kind of in theme with our trees today. So some coloring there as well. You will see the activity sheets that we went through if you haven't had a chance to print those out. And then I have some fun links in here as well to share with you guys. Let's pull this up. So one of them is the Arbor Day webpage where you can find other activities related to trees and nature. One of the videos we watched is from Forestry Works. You can see the YouTube video there, the link there as well. I'm going to pull up this Google Earth one. And Project Learning Tree is another great resource for anybody that's interested in learning more about trees. This is from the DNR. I talked with someone there about this program, and they've got lots of resources for kids of all ages. So if you have older brothers and sisters, this is also something you can check out too. So let's see, we'll pull that up, and my Google Earth is coming up. So while that comes up, I'm pulling up Google Earth. It has a whole series on exploring unique forests around the globe. So this was just a really cool way to see things in 3D from around the globe that we wouldn't have necessarily been able to see right here in Indiana. So as that pulls up, I'm going to stop my video for a second to help with the internet speed here. And here's Project Learning Tree as our Google Earth pulls up. So this has lots of different nature activities for families of all ages, different activities you can do indoor and outdoor. And so Lots of different topics there for you to explore. If nature, plants, and trees are your interests, that is a great option for you to have as well. Let's have our Google Earth come up. And it's trying. And we might be having some technical issues. So while that comes up, let's go over. Nope. The last thing we're doing is our resources we went over. I am going to do a quick game, so maybe Google Earth will pull up while I'm doing that. So I am going to invite you to do our game with us. And it is similar to Simon Says, but what you're going to do is we're going to do the 4 H's. So remember, we said whenever we do our pledge, we do head for clear thinking. So we point to our head. We do heart for greater loyalty, right? So heart here, hands for larger service, hold your hands out, and health for better living. So I'm going to say a word and I'm going to have you do the action, okay? So we're going to do this together, but listen close. So head, great job. Heart, great job. Hands? Awesome. And health? Now let's see. Can you do it if I mix it up? So hands. Hands. Oh, that was a tricky one. Heart. Head. Head. Gotcha again. All right, and we're going to do it really fast. Head, heart, hands, health. Ah, great job. Great job. That's awesome. Well, our Google Earth is struggling to come up today for some reason. So let's see if I can get, there we go. This is the last thing I will show you, and then you are free to go. Again, this was a re-recording because of some technical issues we had at our original Mini 4-H connection night. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help answer anything. We will be hopefully doing some awesome in-person and hybrid options in 2021. Be on the lookout for dates related to that coming out soon. And here's our Google Earth. So on Google Earth, the Google Earth link, it's for enchanted forests. So these are just really unique forests that can be found around the globe. So if you click Start Exploring, it's actually going to take you to a point where you will be able to see like you are there in the forest. So the first stop is going to be our Crooked Forest, and this is in Poland. So you will find the Crooked Forest and its mysterious bending trees. So as you explore this, you can actually scroll around, and those trees have formed crooked. Unlike some of the pine trees you might see around Indiana, ours are going to be a little straighter. They're not sure why or how these trees were formed this way, but there's all of our crooked trees. The next place it's going to take you is going to be in California. So you're going to hop back to the United States, and it'll take you around the globe here again. And we're going to go to Redwood National State Parks in California. And again, I'm not going to go through all of these, but this is a great opportunity to explore someplace new. And these redwoods are some of the tallest trees, and I believe oldest, some of the oldest species of tree that can be found in the United States. So this is, look at how tall they are. Man, that is awesome, huh? So you can explore all sorts of different enchanted forests, different types of wooded areas around the world by clicking that Google Earth link. So again, this is just a fun way to explore the world and see different types of trees, nature, and forestry around the globe. So here's our last one we'll do. This is the Double Root Bridge in India. And these natural structures occur when rubber fig roots are encouraged to grow into one another, forming strong bridges over rivers and small canyons. So those things that look like bridges are all made out of roots. So that's pretty cool too. All right. Well, that is all I have. Again, I apologize that this is not the live version and we don't have the interaction of all of our other mini 4-H friends. However, sometimes technology can just give us some fits, but we may do, and we're going to live out the 4-H motto, which is to make the best better. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I hope you and your family have great holiday season, and we are looking forward to doing some more awesome mini 4-H events in 2021. See you soon.